So this is the inaugural video for a YouTube channel that I wanted to start for quite a while. I don't know where exactly it's going, but I wanted to at least put something out there rather than keep thinking about it. And the place I keep going with it is just looking at where, um, where society's going. And I don't mean that like in this too heavy a way. I mean, in general, once you get to my age, 48, you have a family, you look back at a history of your life, and you're thinking about, where you're leaving the next generation, where these kids that have been born in 2000 and 2010 and beyond, what are you leaving them? How was your life? What was your life growing up in the 70s and 80s and 90s compared to what it's like going to be like in the 2020s and 30s and 40s? And just as I think just anybody that gets to a certain age just has their own thoughts and opinions on things. And one thing that stood out to me, starting school with an Apple, like the old Macintosh computers were like the first things in our classrooms, up to Windows 95. And then you get to the internet and you get to Google and the rise of social media to today. Now we with AI. Um, One thing is there's a separation to me in my mind that maybe isn't clear with everybody who's younger, is the difference between the internet and your computer. The difference between your technology like your phone, um, and apps, and the internet in general. I think it's this distinction's important to me, and has become more important to me because one thing that I think we're leaving kids is a world that's not very private. Um, and the internet, while it's been around a long time now, really, I can remember a time before it. I barely remember a time before computers, but I do remember a time before the internet. And so I think there's a difference between your digital life and the digital things that you use, like, video games, radios, CDs. I guess CDs is outdated, but music. You didn't have to have a subscription to Apple Music to listen to music. Um, Movies. There's digital. Your televisions. There's digital, um, computerized equipment that you have available to you that doesn't need to be always connected to the internet. And I wonder if the internet, for all of its good and convenience that it's brought, is also jumping the shark a little in some of the negatives that it's brought too. I mean, there's a silent side to the internet that, not everybody sees. And, that's really what I want this channel to be about, is looking at, um, how how the internet has sort of eroded some of our privacy, um, and whether that is an acceptable thing. Are there, when we look at what, not just where we are, but where we want to be 30, 40, 50 years down the road, 100 years down the road, how important is privacy? Because to me, it feels like it's getting eroded and almost not discussed very much, that people are depending on social media for news. People that have grew up with social media, like, for their whole lives, may not have the perspective of what things were like before it. I mean, they can see pictures and they hear things, but you don't really live it. And in trying to balance the usefulness of this information with, like maybe this curmudgeonly, Oh man, that was things were better when I was a kid. I'm trying to find that line where it's helpful but not just complaining. Because I'm figuring this out too. It just privacy feels like to me a thing that if you give it away, or if it's taken, or if it slowly goes away, it might not be easy to get it back, because there's power in having information. There's certainly power when I have information and you don't. Um, and that's a slippery kind of insidious, maybe, type of power, that it's not blatant or obvious. And we seem to be signing up for this, more and more. I think the problem is kind of like the intentions aren't even bad, with this. A lot of times, there's benefits, to trading away privacy. You get something for it. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. But you don't see necessarily that other side. And as we go forward, as the kids being born today are growing up into a new world, and this becomes, more normalized, my question is that dangerous? Is that a problem? Is that something to correct now? Or is it kind of okay that is it something we just wade in, see where things go, and sort of ride the tide? Um, or is it a situation where it's something we need to put, maybe not the brakes on, but we need to fight more for, um, protections for our privacy? My goal is to look at it from a historical lens, philosophical lens, factual, database lens, try to see, where in history there have been shifts in privacy, whether how important it's been, how it's been used against people, whether it's been used against people, and make the case, wherever it leads, to reach an outcome that, satisfactory to me, I guess, and then taking you guys on this journey with me. Um, so yeah, that's all I have to say for the first one, and we'll see you again.